It's a key Southern Conference matchup, a rematch of a week ago when East Tennessee State, the defending Southern Conference champion, hosts Furman, the preseason favorite to win the league. Hi everybody, I am Marky Billson, and these two teams, along with Wofford, are tied for first place in the standings in the loss column. Now, that may be irrelevant this year if there are different amounts of games that the various teams are going to play. Witness Samford, who had today's game and their next three games, including a February 1st tilt with ETSU, postponed. That's very important for the Samford Bulldogs because it means they're going to have to play 11 games in the final month of the season, which is February, the shortest month of the season. So that comes down to what the Southern Conference race is going to be about and what this basketball game tipping off at Freedom Hall at 4 p.m. is going to come down to, and that is depth. I mean, with the Bulldogs, who really don't figure to be a part of the race, but could maybe pick off a team theoretically here or there, you're looking at, will they have the depth to play such a concentrated schedule? ETSU did not have the depth to beat Furman a week ago when they suffered a 78-66 loss. It was apparent down the stretch when the Paladins went on a 17-6 run to win the game. And this was because ETSU did not have Ladarius Brewer, their leading scorer, with 17 points a game, nor did they have Marcus Nyback, who's a freshman who gets, he's the third guy off the bench. But Jason Shea has shown that he likes to use a rotation of at least 8 players in a ball game, maybe 9, that sort of thing, to spell. The ninth guy is going to get a couple of minutes or so, not significant playing time, one would hope and all this, but it goes down to what happened in the ballgame. Without Brewer, without Nyback, the bench was shortened. The fatigue was there. 4 players played 30 minutes or more for ETSU, and the Buccaneers, despite keeping the Paladins' star forward, and he is a star, averaging 14 points a game, Noah Gurley, off the boards. When I say off the boards, I mean off the scorer's table. He did not score a single point, despite taking 8 shots from the field. Nevertheless, here's the situation. You've got depth now for ETSU, as both Nyback and Brewer are back, and Furman comes in after a disappointing loss to VMI. Remember, I told you VMI was good this year, and they proved it by beating the first-place team. 74-73 was the final score on Wednesday, and I thought the key in this game was not necessarily Greg Parham scoring 24 points for the Keydets or anything like that, but I noticed both teams played their starters, all of them, 30 minutes or more. And that's an advantage for VMI. It was a very short bench. They do not have a lot of depth. Furman, none of their... Well, let me just put it this way. For Furman, their top reserve is Garrett Hine, who spells the aforementioned Gurley. And he's getting about 16, 17 minutes a game. That's not, tremendously outstanding for a sixth man, but he's their top reserve for the Furman Paladins. So ETSU, I think, in this game has depth. Something else to point out, Ladarius Brewer has been playing point guard. Earlier I said that Cyril Smith had been doing that in lieu of David Sloan, who started the year at point guard. Remember, ETSU was so sluggish at the start of the year in non-conference play, and I mean, there were excuses made for it, but I'm sorry. A Southern Conference team should not lose to a Southland Conference team by 23 points. That just shouldn't happen. Nor should ETSU really be in a competitive battle with Division II Lee. Now, Sloan's stats aren't that bad. In fact, he's the second leading scorer on the team. Kind of interesting that Jason Shea's philosophy is take as many shots as you like, and therefore I think this is why you're seeing the point guards for ETSU scoring so many points. But it's a very deep team for ETSU where no player is averaging 30 or more minutes a game, but they've got an 8-man rotation, and I think that this is going to be the deciding factor in their game against the Furman Paladins today. 4 p.m. tip-off, like I said. Furman's a 4.5-point favorite. Started at 3 or 3.5, depending on what book. I'm seeing it at 4.5, folks. I think that ETSU is going to win the game. I didn't tell you to go bet on it, but I think they're going to win the game. And I think it's because they have the superior depth. That is really a great testament for Jason Shea, because he lost everybody in his rookie year as head coach, but he was able to bring in enough new players that they were able to overcome the losses to a certain extent. I don't think ETSU is going to win 30 games this year, but they are, again, contenders, and they are one of the deepest teams in the Southern Conference. That speaks very well of the ETSU program and also new head coach, Jason Shea. It's just, Jason, you got to elaborate a little bit more with these injuries and such. I mean, come on. You don't want to be Jeremy Pruitt, do you? Yeah, I don't think so. Now, the winner of the game, like I said, could be in first place at the end of the day. Wofford is a half game ahead of both these teams. 4-1 are the conference records for both Furman and ETSU. However, Wofford, they take on last place Western Carolina, which hasn't won a game in the conference, but Western Carolina, I don't think, is a lousy team by any chance. And what I found interesting is that ETSU, which actually was involved in something of a battle before their depth pulled ahead of the Catamounts on Wednesday. It was a 45-45 tie late before ETSU pulled away in the final minutes to win by 10 points, 58-48. Also, Wofford has been engaged in low-scoring games, a 48-45 game, for instance, earlier in the season. That may actually bode well for Western Carolina. I don't necessarily think Western Carolina is going to go into Spartanburg and win the game, but I do give them a puncher's chance because the pacing, if they can control the pace, and they may be able to, that is going to benefit the Catamounts. Folks, in this conference this year, it's any given day. Really, the bottom team in the Southern Conference can rise up and defeat the top team. It is a very competitive conference from top to bottom. May not have the dominant team that ETSU was the year before, or Wofford was 2 years ago, but from top to bottom, it's highly competitive. And I think that bodes well. I hope that bodes well for the chances of, if not this year, maybe in the future, getting 2 bids to the NCAA tournament. But this game, this season, it's all about depth, and that's looking good for ETSU. I am Marky Billson. If you like what I'm saying, if you don't, either way, I want you to hit the bell and subscribe to my YouTube channel with more than 1,500 videos, the archives of my sports talk show, a lot of great interviews. We've got an ETSU channel or page, if you will. Also, recent podcasts, what I'm doing now, as I'm exploring opportunities in the traditional media world, if you will. But getting a lot of viewers and subscribers and good feedback for these videos we're doing on ETSU in Tennessee, and I got to, expand that as well. Also, I ask that you follow me on Medium, medium.com, and also follow me on Twitter, which is at BillsonMarky, BILLSONMARKY. I look forward to speaking to you about ETSU, Tennessee, and all sorts of sports going forward from here. Until next time, I'm Marky.